Well, over the past few weeks here on Reclaim Radio, we've been playing the new song by Rozalla, which is I Feel It Slipping Away. And I'm happy to say uh, that we are privileged to have Rozalla here with us on Reclaim Radio tonight. Rozalla, good evening. Thank you for coming on to Reclaim Radio.
Thank you, Kyle. Thank you so much for having me.
Well, thanks for coming. The new song, absolutely brilliant. Every time we play it, people are they're just loving it. Absolutely loving it.
That's just lovely. That just warms my heart. That's so lovely to hear. Because as an artist, when you're in the studio recording a song, there's usually the producer, a backing vocalist or so. So there's not many in the studio, maybe about 2 or 3 people. And you're recording the song. And when you release it out into the wide world, you hope so many more people are going to listen to it. And, because it's out there now. And then when you get the feedback that you hope to get from a song, which, I feel It's Slipping Away is a good song. It's just such a heartwarming, wonderful feeling.
So did you, was it written sort of pre-lock? Well, because you always have to talk in terms of pre and post lockdown. Was it written pre-lockdown or during lockdown or?
Well, actually, it was a demo because I'm working on an album and we were hoping to release the album last year, 2020. So Gary and I released 3 singles from the album, the third one being I Feel It Slipping Away. So we haven't finished the album yet. We've still got about another 2 or 3 tracks left to record. Anyhow, coming back to how the song came about, I'm sourcing for songs, I'm co-writing some songs. We've done a few covers for it, and this song was sent to Gary from Phil Harding, who was part and parcel of the PWL back in the day. And Gary said it was a demo that was probably done sometime in the 70s or 80s by songwriting royalty Lamont Dozier, who used to write for the Motown artists back in the day. And I listened to this demo. It had never been released as a single. And I just loved the message. I loved the style of the song. Although I understand whenever I'm given a demo and then it's sent out for additional mixes, it's going to come back sounding almost, usually 9 times out of 10, so different.
Okay. And in terms of, so that's, as you said, the third single. So you're still working on the album. How does it work in terms of, because obviously we are in a very different world now. So are you still collaborating with people? Has that affected how you do things now? And have you changed your approach to how you come up with new music and things? Has that changed the whole thing? Have you put things on pause for a little while?
We've put things, well, as far as releasing singles from the album, we managed to record about 10 tracks, which are, some of them have been fully mixed, and we've got another 2 or 3 more left to record. And Gary said, look, we can either put things on pause, but not know when things are going to, show light at the end of the tunnel, or do our best to carry on living our lives the best way we know how. So we released the second song from it during the first lockdown, actually, called Magnificent. And we released the third single end of last year, which is the one that thank you like, called I Feel It Slipping Away, because we thought, we got to live our lives and do our best to have some kind of normalcy for ourselves. Otherwise, you hit a brick wall and you end up getting so depressed, which has been the case anyway, So Gary said, look, we just got to keep on releasing material, and that's what we've done. And yes, we have been affected by way of when a single's been released, you send it out to the promoters, to the DJs, to get feedback, to get it promoted in that way. And there's been no DJs to send it to, so that's been so difficult. But what I've got out of it, and what Gary has said, is continuing to keep the profile. The radio DJs like yourself have been so supportive in playing it on your radio stations, doing interviews with me, and that's what I've been doing, and that's given me a sense of, okay, at least I'm still doing something towards my career.
That's brilliant. Well, in terms of, because I did see as well, in terms of the career, I know, because coming from Zambia or whatever, and sort of doing the musical and the performance from being quite young, really, so were you always got to do? Do you always think that you were got to do something musical and performance going up towards sort of doing bits of acting? Now, was that always something you were going to do? You think?
Well, I've dabbled in a bit of acting, and I've loved it. I mean, if there ever was an opening for me to be a part of that world, I would do. And I had a good friend of mine who asked me to do a promo for a movie that he was doing. So I was so excited by it, and the producer, the director, sadly passed away about a year ago, which was so sad. But they believed in me. They believed I could act, I could do it. However, it's such another tough industry, and it's by no means, give up on it. But I thought, you know what? If that opens up for me and something happens in that direction by way of acting, I'll go with the flow. But I've prioritized my singing career. I'm in here, I'm doing it, and I've had some hit singles from it, thank you God, and that's where I am.
One of the things that I do over here on my weekends, which is probably a little bit sad, Rozalla, is I listen. I watch every weekend the Top of the Pops on BBC4 every weekend. I notice we're in 1990 at the minute, and we're heading, as I'm sure you're aware, towards 1991. So pretty soon, and it seems like, I would imagine it only seems like yesterday for you. So pretty soon, everybody will be seeing you on Top of the Pops, I would imagine. How does that feel from your point of view?
Oh, my heart just soars with pride. I can't begin to tell you. And in fact, I can tell you, Kyle, I did an interview for this program that you're watching, obviously early last year before the lockdown. Her name is Verity, and Seal did the filming, and so it was for Top of the Pops, my year 1991. So they asked me a few questions of it, and so yes, you're right. My segment will be coming up sometime, so I'm really, really excited.
Oh, it's brilliant. It's just strange because there are a few of us on Twitter who sort of all discuss it. So I just I was excuse me, thinking it must be strange for like a whole new, because obviously there's quite a whole new, I was going to say a generation, but there's a couple of generations now that will be hearing it perhaps for the first time, and rediscovering it. So that's a great thing. In terms of generations and the new songs that you've got coming out of the new album and things, how does it work in terms of, have you noticed like a shift in the way that your music comes out now? So in the old days, you would have perhaps released a single, the album, and now things are moving towards YouTube, TikTok. Are those things that you've got to consider now to get your music out there? Is that like a wider, more services to get your stuff onto, really, to get the airplay?
I think with the way the world has moved on with social media, the internet and those type of platforms has been a blessing for some artists. I hear some of them have released their own material without the help of a record label, and they've released their own stuff on YouTube. And therefore, they've done all the work, and the record label has come up and snapped them up and signed them up because all the work has been done. So in that regard, it's been very positive. Myself, I run my own accounts, which is Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Instagram being my favorite. And it's wonderful that I actually can be in touch directly with the fans who want to be in touch with me. So far, so good. All of them have been so encouraging and so respectful. I always worry a bit about being trolled or things like that, with social media, because it does have its dark side. But fortunately, I'm happy to say I've not, hopefully won't ever cross that path. But yeah, I love being in contact directly with my fans and feel, they can inbox me or message me, and, you have access to maybe even sending them a voice note, which is lovely. So yeah, I think it's been more positive rather than negative.
Oh, that's brilliant. Excuse me. So just in terms of, we seem to be, I'm just fingers crossed here, we seem to be finally getting towards the end of lockdown, he says.
Oh, please.
I know, I shouldn't be, I shouldn't tempt fate, should I? So what are the plans sort of in the future coming forward? So will you be performing any sort of live gigs at the summer if things start easing off? Have you got anything lined up, or are you waiting to see how things sort of pan out?
Oh, I've got things lined up. Absolutely. I can't wait. I'm so excited. I mean, last year in January, my husband and I were looking at my diary because, he's now, drives me around and, even chooses my outfits, let me say, and tells me, oh, that red lipstick doesn't suit you, try the other red. So, because he's semi-retired now. So it's actually lovely to have him on board doing that for me and helping me. Anyway, we looked at my diary last year, January, and I had about 70 gigs in my diary from last year, January, across the year, and more were being added. And we both thinking, wow, you're going to be so busy, and my husband's like, don't you worry, we'll share the driving, you do the sleeping, I'll do the driving, and we're really looking forward to it. And then bang, absolutely practically majority of the shows that I had were completely canceled because there were ones that were unique to the days and the venues. Some of them were transferred to this year, 2021. And even those that were transferred to 2021, they made reservation bookings towards the end of the year because, nobody knew a second lockdown would happen, that sort of thing. So all the promoters are worried that there might be, who knows, other lockdowns in place. So they were nervous because some of them have lost everything. It's been really, really sad. But now that you say we have light at the end of the tunnel, fingers crossed, things are seeming to go the right way. The promoters are calling me and offering me gigs, and hopefully my first gig will be due to begin at the end of May. I'm really ecstatic about that, and fingers crossed, Kyle. That's all I can say. Fingers crossed. I'm hoping that when I press my USB, because I got it and I put my USB, and that's where all my band is. I'm hoping I'll remember how to sing.
Okay. Rozalla, thank you so much for coming on tonight. One of the questions that I always tend to ask people is, and it's a bit of a broad ranging on this, but if you were looking back to your younger self or to people listening now, what's the one piece of advice do you think you would give people being in the sort of industry that you're in?
Never give up. If you believe in your heart that this is what you want to do and you feel that you're good at it, and always take constructive criticism, from people who believe in you but are telling you the truth, and never give up, because it is a tough industry and life is tough anyway, no matter what career you get into. So never give up. And, till today, Kyle, I tell myself that, because I have my moments, where I think, what am I doing? Let me just stay at home and close the door. I have my moments, but I'm so hungry and continue to be passionate about what I do and being in the world of performing and being out there to sing for people. It's such a joy for me.
Rozalla, that's absolutely brilliant. Thank you so much for coming on to Reclaim Radio tonight. If people wanted to get in touch with you, I know you said about the socials, what's the best way for people to follow you or message you?
They can find me on Facebook, Rozalla Miller. They can find me on Twitter, Rozalla B, and my favorite of all being Instagram as Rozalla B as well.
That's absolutely brilliant. Thank you for the time. And you know what? I think we should listen right now to I Feel It Slipping Away Again. Thank you so much for coming on Reclaim Radio tonight.
Thank you for having me, Kyle. Really appreciate it.